Welcome to another week of Celtic Chalk Talk. My name's Steve Purciello, Boston Celtic fan forever. Remember the Russell days, so I go way back and I could tell you lots of stories about it. But for today, we're going to talk about this week. But before we do, I'm just going to mention this Celtic Chalk Talk is part of a network of podcasts on the Peach Basket. I really suggest that you go and look into the peachbasket.net and look at other people that are as talented as this, if not better. This is an organic group of people who are basketball fans giving thoughts on the NBA. It is something that I think everybody should experience listening to because I think there's a lot of great points being made by a lot of very big fans who understand the game. That's something I suggest that everybody take a shot and look at. For the Celtics this week, it was an interesting week. The first game they played was last week. They played Philadelphia in Game 2 of the series. That might have been one of the worst games the Celtics played since last year playing the Knicks. They were horrible. They shot 26% from three, which is just a nightmare, and 39% overall. But that wasn't the real story. The defense was worse. They were in constant drop, and all Philly was doing was having Drummond or Bona set screens up high at the three-point line, and Maxey or Edgecomb go off of that and be wide open because of the drop. This was a problem. Boston had to figure something out to stop this. They didn't do it that night, and they were getting wide open threes. Edgecomb shot very well. Maxey always shoots well, so they were able to beat Boston. Every time Boston made a run, it seemed Philly ran something off the screen, the high screen, and Maxey or Edgecomb would make a big three to hurt Boston. It was just not a good night. Philadelphia shot the ball real well. Maxey had 29, 5 for 12 from three. It just was bad. Edgecomb was 6 for 10 from three. He had 30. Philly was 19 for 39 from three. Now you understand there is such a thing as a team being hot, which Philly was. But what you don't understand is the adjustments that weren't made. And I was disappointed because I think Joe Mazzulla is one of the best coaches in the league. Later in the game, what Boston was doing was Keita at times or Vukovich would come up and hedge. That means they came up to the side and tried to take away the dribble off the screen until the recovery was made by the defender. They did that sporadically. They didn't do it often enough, and then they would go back to the drop, and Philly would burn them. It was just a bad game, terrible game. Boston didn't play well, and so on. So now that set up a 1-1 series, and we're going back to Philly. And we got a problem because we got two games there, and if we don't show, and we also have Embiid looking and waiting and lurking in the background. Game 3 was an old-fashioned, tight, tough game. Boston managed to win it 108-100 by making some big shots down the stretch. The game, it was an old-fashioned game, and there was whistles constantly. You never saw a flow developing. So it wasn't a fun game to watch, but it was fun in the results. The fourth quarter was Tatum hit two big threes at the end. One was off a Derrick White rebound, a great rebound from the weak side. Grabbed it, kicked it out. Tatum hit the three, and that really ended the game. But he hit two big ones in the last minute or two. One other big play. Tatum had the ball on the right wing, dribbling, looking to get some sort of opening. Got nowhere with about 4 or 5 seconds left on the 24. Kicked it to the corner to Pritchard. Pritchard hit a three going to his left. Great shot, and one of the other keys to winning the game. Tatum took over the fourth quarter and with the help of Pritchard. But Jaylen Brown in the third quarter got rolling. He had about 8 or 10 points in a row that really helped put it away. For Philly, Maxey was great. And he gets rolling. You got to look out. He's such a great scorer. Reminds me, for you old-time fans of Celtics, of Cedric Toney. Toney was the Boston Strangler, if some of you remember. He could shoot from anywhere. And he hurt Boston over those years. Just a great player. I guess it was back in the 80s. But anyway, that's what Maxey reminds me of. Tatum had 25, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Good game. And JB had 25, 7, and 4. opposite, 4-7, 7-4, but which meaning 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Derrick White, I have to give so much credit to for that big rebound and kick out. That was off a Vuk miss, and that was really what helped put it away. What was interesting and what I kept coming back to in this game was Boston has championship DNA, and they know how to win tight games, and that's what they did in this game. That's an important thing to keep in mind with the Celtics. Then we go to yesterday's game. Surprised me. Joel Embiid was back, and naturally you get a little worried because he's great, and when he's healthy, he's great. But Boston went out and just blew the doors off, 128-96. They got off to a big lead in the first quarter, never looked back. Payton Pritchard, first half, 18 points, was on fire. Everything he threw up found the net. It was just beautiful to watch. For Philadelphia, they had Embiid in, and he's a great player. So with the great player, Philly has a problem. Their problem becomes very simple. They've run a guard-oriented offense with Paul George. And Paul George should get the ball more because he's trouble and he can score. He's a professional scorer. But and that's another subject. But with Embiid back, the offense now goes away from guard-oriented to more playing off Embiid. Philly struggled with that early and really had trouble finding themselves because of that changeover in the offense. As good as Embiid is, adding him at this point is difficult to adjust to. The other thing was Edgecomb really didn't shoot well. He struggled, and he's going to have better nights down the road. Just hopefully Boston can end it before he really goes off. Their offense will get better. But Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the third or fourth quarter, they scored all the points. They were just on fire. Tatum finished 37-11, JB 27-1. JB sat out the fourth quarter. They didn't need him. It was that easy of a win. Pritchard, as I said, 18 in the first half, 32 total. He was going for the record that Kevin McHale has, 34 off the bench in a playoff game, but he couldn't. He was kind of out of gas down the stretch, and they pulled him early with about 6 minutes left. Boston really took everybody off the floor down the stretch. Philly shot overall 41% from the floor, but they were way worse than that in the first half. They started scoring in the third quarter, and that's when they raised their percentage, obviously. And they shot only 30% from three. There's the story, but Boston, I think, is credited for good defense. And I want to mention Jordan Walsh. Played a great game. He was in the second quarter, and naturally his energy, and he was on good Jordan Walsh. And that energy is so infectious to the rest of the team. For Boston, they shot 48% from the floor, and get this, 45% from three. That's the reason why you win. They also had 14 offensive rebounds, and they had a 63-49 rebound edge. And that plays out in a way that Boston might miss a shot, rebound, kick out, miss a shot, rebound, kick out, three. And they were doing that. They were getting 2 and 3 shots, which has to be a demoralizing thing for the Philly team. Now they're 3-1. They play tomorrow night. Important to put them away. You don't want to give that team life because of Maxey. And if Embiid they start meshing again, it's not going to be easy. You can't get too confident. You can't say it's over till it's over. It would be nice to win tomorrow night so Boston gets a couple days off before the next series. But we'll have to see something. A couple other notes I just want to mention. Vukovich, he's got to show more. He's got to show more. It seemed like when Boston played against any team he was on, his shooting just ran Boston and just wore him down. He always made a big bucket, could hit a three. He's making some threes, but he's got to become more consistent. Defensively, he brings very little to the table. And that's a problem, especially if Kata continues to get in foul trouble. Brown, I don't want to criticize him because he's so good, but he needs to learn to see the court. It seems like if he starts into his dribbling, is one thing on his mind, that's to shoot and score. Sometimes people are wide open on the wings and in the corners, and he's got to see them and get them the ball. If wide open threes, we've proven Shireman and even Jordan Walsh, they can hit these, as well as we'll talk about Derrick White in a second, but even Derrick White's starting to come out of it. And I'll just mention that Derrick White has struggled in the last couple of weeks of the season and now shooting threes. The positive last night, he hit 2 in a row. The last 2 he took. He went 2 for 4 for the night, but it's important. That could be a positive. And if D. White finds his shooting range, it just makes Boston better. I can't say enough about D. White on the other parts of the court. Defensively, he's tremendous. He's done it twice in the series where he's chased down blocks when Philly players were going for layups. Last night against Maxey. It's invaluable. He just has to begin to start making the big shot. He made the big play off the rebound, and even with him not shooting well, he's still needed. But it would help a hell of a lot more if he was able to shoot. Anyway, that's it for this week. We'll be back again next week to talk more Celtics Chalk Talk. And until then, enjoy it and enjoy the playoffs. Thank you.